Okay. So my name is Jen. I'm the foster care coordinator here. For the most part, you're going to either be dealing with myself or my assistant, Mary Grace. And with me today, I have Mango. I'm going to let Mango out. Mango was a part of the foster care program. He just graduated. He came in originally, his mom was a stray pregnant cat. I'm going to let him just run around, so be careful. Rolling, he may hide for a minute, that's perfectly fine. He'll probably come out at a random time during orientation. So his mom was a stray pregnant cat. We took her in off schedule. Then she had her babies in the foster home. She ended up having 5. Mango's the last one. So he actually should go home either tonight or tomorrow to his forever home. So there we go. So he'll be rolling around. Just like I said, be careful rolling in the chairs. And then before we leave, if we could make sure we catch Mango. That way I'm not chasing him down the hall. A little bit of background about the APL. Our mission statement is serving the abandoned, homeless, and abused animals of Cleveland and Northeast Ohio. Over the past few years, that's expanded greatly. Last year, especially with the hurricanes, we got a lot of those animals in from as far away as Puerto Rico. We get transfers regularly from Indiana, Tennessee, all over. So wherever the animals need help, we try to help out whenever we can. So we are a non-profit humane society. We are a 501c3. So a lot of people get us confused with Cleveland Kennel and Cuyahoga County Animal Shelter. We are completely separate from them. We're friends with them, but we don't have anything to do with them. All the stray dogs in Cleveland go to Cleveland Kennel. All the stray dogs in Cuyahoga County outside of Cleveland go to the Cuyahoga County Animal Shelter. We then are mostly owner surrenders. We don't take any stray dogs. And then we have the humane investigation team for Cuyahoga County through us. So we do get all of the animals that come in through humane investigations, whether it's hoarding cases, neglect cases. Those are the ones you see on the news a lot of times. And we rely strictly on fundraising, donations. For our money, 75% of it comes from donations, so that's really a big deal, as most of it is from people helping us like that. The rest, the other 25%, is service fees, adoption fees. Where are you going? So, our 3 main areas, we have lots of separate programs, but the main ones are admissions, which is intake department. That is, if most of you probably parked over here in adoptions, the intake department is a little bit down the hill. That's where the spay and neuter is, project care, foster is. So anything you have to do with foster department will park down there. And then adoptions is on this side of the building. So a little bit, you scratched the wallpaper. I'll have to explain that. Admissions. So the intake department, we get lots of cats, kittens, dogs are the most part, but we do get rabbits, guinea pigs, hamsters. Especially we'll get a lot of interesting things in through humane investigations. So we've gotten in 6-foot alligators before, lemurs, goats, horses. Anything in Cuyahoga County that is abused or neglected, we end up getting. So most of the time, if it's dogs, it's either humane investigations or owner surrender. A lot of the cats are strays. We're one of the only shelters in Cleveland that takes stray cats, so we take the brunt of it. Transfer, we get a lot of dogs transferred in, and then humane investigations. So one question we get asked all the time is if we are a kill or a no-kill shelter. Technically, no. We are a no time limit shelter. So we will never euthanize a healthy, friendly animal to make space. We do offer low-cost euthanasia for the public if we agree with it. So that would be something like an 18-year-old has cancer and is terminally ill. An aggressive dog that's already hurt multiple people, something that we cannot treat or make space or help. If we don't agree with it, for example, we had someone try to euthanize their pet rat because it had fleas. We ended up just taking the rat, treating the fleas, putting it up for adoption. So we'll never euthanize something that we don't 100% agree with. Spay and neuter. So back this year, which is really exciting, is our Project CARE. That's Community Animal Retention Efforts. That is a low-cost program right now just for the city of Cleveland for anyone living on government assistance to help them keep animals in their home. With that, most of them, now they're starting to do some vaccines, which is really exciting. But for the most part, a lot of it's like a one-time help. For example, if poodle has a really great home in a house, falls off the couch, breaks its leg, now needs a $1,500 surgery. The average person doesn't have $1,500 to fix the leg. Instead of normally before, they would just surrender over the animal to us. We would fix it, then put it back up for adoption. If he had a perfectly good home before, then we would work with them to try to fix that leg and get him back into that household to save that other home for another animal that needs it. So it's really to help keep animals in good homes that may just need a little bit of financial help with a certain medical issue for their animal. Then our TNR program, which is Trap, Neuter, Return. That is for feral cats. Feral cats are the wild ones that you can't touch. We can't make house pets. So for those ones, we'll fix them and re-release them outside. If someone brings in a cat that's healthy or friendly for TNR, then we'll fix it, then just take it in and adopt it out. So that's strictly for the animals that they would not be happy living inside a home. They want to be outside. Part of that, a lot of people will notice, especially when you pulled in, maybe not so much with winter, but we do have a feral cat colony outside in our parking lot that people come in on. Those are all part of that program where they will not be happy inside. We always tell people, if you want, if you can catch one, you can bring it in. And then adoptions, this side, all of our animals that are available for adoption are spayed or neutered, completely vaccinated, up to date, tested for FELV, FIV, or heartworm, dewormed, treated for fleas, and much more. Most of the time, cats that come in have something called an upper respiratory infection. It's like a common cold for cats. Dogs, while here, just because of the stress and the close quarters, end up getting kennel cough a lot of times. We'll get animals that are injured or may have different illnesses, so most of the time it's a whole lot more than that we do. So 2017 we had over 5,700 adoptions, which is really awesome to think about. So volunteer opportunities. So after all this, if you decide that the foster program isn't quite right for your household, that's perfectly fine. We want to find whatever works for your household. So if this doesn't, then there's dog walking, dog enrichment, photography, cat care, special events, lots of different ways. Or a lot of times fosters will like to do both. Maybe they like to foster and do dog walking, or help with special events, or even take their foster animals to special events in certain cases. So there's lots of different ways to help be a part of the APL. So foster care. We ask that our fosters provide basic socialization and care. That's just playing with them, loving on them, feeding, making sure they're in a clean environment, changing litter boxes, taking outside, just basic care that you'd do for any animal. Observation and monitoring, so that'd be if you notice that the kitten hasn't eaten in 2 days, if there's something behaviorally that's concerning, if you notice that they have some green nasal discharge, anything like that, we expect that you let us know. Responsible handling, so especially with little kids, making sure they're not dropping kittens. Adult dogs, making sure right away you're not going up and pressing your face against their face. Just making sure for the safety of the animal and everyone in your household. Prompt communication with foster coordinator. So if you do notice anything concerning, let us know right away. Or if you have any questions at all, let us know. And ability to transport back to the shelter every 2 weeks and keeping appointments. On average, we'll booster puppies and kittens every 2 weeks, and adults that come in will need 1 booster after 2 weeks. For the most part, then adults, if they have a medical condition, a lot of times we ask to do a checkup every 2 weeks. The only exception to those, sometimes we may send an animal out for like a vacation or heartworm treatment. It may be 4 weeks. So, but rule of thumb, every 2 weeks is roughly when we ask to see the animal again. So what to expect? So different risks of fostering. Illness or injury to resident pets. That's one of the reasons why we ask if you can keep them 100% separate to avoid that. Illness or injury to resident or non-resident people. So most of the injuries are like scratches, especially from kittens and puppies. Occasionally there may be a bite from an adult that could happen. Illness would be more, it is possible to get ringworm from animals, and sometimes an animal may not show signs of ringworm while in the while in the shelter, but then could show it in the foster home. I'll go over those a little bit more later, but there are some illnesses that animals can get that people can get. Emergency situations, so because they are living, breathing creatures, sometimes stuff does come up. I'll probably, especially during kitten season, once a month to once every other month have kittens fall down the steps and hurt themselves. May get suddenly really sick, so we may ask you to, if possible, come in either early the next morning, or if you can take them to the vet. We, of course, if you call us on the emergency phone, which I'll go over a little bit later, we'll cover that, but it may be inconvenient, so just be aware of that. Potential outcomes. One of the biggest problems, we call it foster failing, is when you fall in love with your foster animal and adopt it. You are allowed to. We ask, though, if you're doing the foster program strictly just to adopt an animal, please just keep an eye on the website instead of doing the foster program, and that's just because we put so many resources into our foster that it's counterproductive to us at that point. So if you are just looking for a certain animal, just to keep an eye on the website, but if you do accidentally fall in love with a foster, it happens. So what do we provide? Food. We use science diet here at the shelter, but some people like to use different types of food, so as long as it's equivalent to science diet or better, that's perfectly fine. With the exception being if the animal's on like a strict prescription diet, but we'll let you know that. Equipment, so we'll provide litter boxes, leashes, collars, almost anything you can think of as long as that animal needs it. Medical care, you guys should never have to pay anything out of pocket for any care of the animal. 24-hour emergency contact. So whenever you pick up an animal, we give you an emergency number. If guys RSVP'd for the seminar and got an email back, you'll notice that 24/7 emergency number in all of my signatures on the email. We have them listed in multiple places as well. So that way if something happens, you should be able to find it. And with that, if the animal does need to go to an emergency vet, right now we're using West Park Animal Hospital. So call us. If we agree with it, we will clear it, and then you can take it to the vet. If you just on your own take your foster to your vet without getting it cleared by us, we're not able to cover it. So just make sure to call that 24/7 emergency contact and make sure we approve any vet visits. So why the need? A lot of times it's weight gain or growing older, especially with kitten season coming up. Kittens need to be 2 pounds. That normally happens about 8 weeks old. That's about a little bit smaller than the guy that's running around. The guy running around is probably like 2.5 pounds now. Pregnancy, it's a lot of pregnant cats, especially March, April will get an influx. We do occasionally have pregnant dogs, though. We have right now, I believe, 4 pregnant dogs in foster. Illness, a lot of times it's upper respiratory infections in cats, kennel cough in dogs. We do occasionally have some others that I'll go over shortly. Injury, we do get a lot of, especially cats that got hit by cars. Animals that unfortunately either have wounds or come from abusive homes that come in with broken legs, bullet holes, just different types of wounds. So unfortunately we do see a lot of that stuff, and then we do try to put them into foster homes to feel better faster. Observation and behavior kind of side by side. Sometimes we'll get people that want to surrender an animal for euthanasia, saying it's aggressive, all of this stuff, and then we look at the dog and the dog's licking our hand. We don't want to, in that case, make a snap decision and euthanize right away if the dog's especially not showing any signs and being perfectly fine with us. So in that case, we would post them for foster. We would always tell you exactly what the person surrendering the animal told us. We would never keep anything from you guys. We don't want to put you at risk. But just see, that's actually how I ended up with my foster fail. It was a German Shepherd senior, and the guy said it's absolutely the worst dog in the world, tore up all this stuff, but was very non-specific. Unfortunately, a lot of people feel like they have to lie to get animals in here. So we decided to give him a chance. I figured I would take him home for a week just to see how his personality was, and now he's still with me. So that just shows that people, unfortunately, aren't always truthful, or they'll do something that was really dumb, and that's why the animal acted that way. As long as you don't do that again, they're fine. Vacation, if we notice that an animal's here for a while, sometimes they start getting depressed and going downhill in the cage. So we'll like to send them on a vacation into a foster home. Even just for 2 weeks is enough to boost their spirits, take a couple cute pictures, write a bio of them, and a lot of times that's enough to find them a forever home. We had a dog, there's a pit bull named Queenie here. I believe Queenie was in a cage at the shelter for 8 or 9 months, just kept getting overlooked, was getting really depressed in the kennel. So we just sent her on a 2-week vacation. She came back and within 2 days was adopted because of a mixture of the pictures that the foster gave us to post about her, all the new information about her, and then just she was so much peppier in her kennel after that. Now it's getting cold in here. I'm just going to switch this the whole time. So it just makes such a big difference. In 2017, we had over 2,500 animals fostered, which is amazing because not only is that how many animals we were able to save, that's how many cages we were able to open. In one, say a litter of kittens comes in, they're 4 weeks old, just needs fostered for 4 weeks. In that 4 weeks that cage is open, we're probably able to get 5 or 6 litters of kittens through. So that's not only that litter that's saved from that foster family, that's 5 or 6 litters that we're able to save because of that space. So it's really incredible to think about. So how does it work? The biggest way, we use 2 medias, Facebook and Basecamp. I always tell people you can use one or the other. If you want both, you're more than welcome to, but it's going to be pretty much the same information on both. So if you have Facebook, you're comfortable with Facebook, then just stick with Facebook. For people that don't have Facebook and don't want to create a Facebook, you don't need to. You can use another program called Basecamp, which I'll explain in a minute. We'll occasionally send out email blasts as well when we get an influx of animals, especially for like hoarding cases we will, or if all of a sudden we just get a ton of kittens in just from different homes we may. Occasionally we'll do individual notifications. For example, we'll have some fosters that are just Pargo fosters, some fosters that are just ringworm fosters. For some people that are just specific, we may send you an individual notification. Not for breed, size, age requests, and not the program to shop for a pet. So a lot of apartments, for example, don't allow pit bulls. That's perfectly fine if you live in a city with breed-specific legislation laws or apartments that don't allow, over 50 pounds. That's perfectly fine. Just write that in the application. If you put, though, that you can only foster Yorkie puppies that are 8 weeks and under on your application, then that's not okay. Or we've had people that said they can only foster a single male gray kitten. I've had people that said they can only foster polydactyl kittens. Polydactyl is when they have the extra thumb. Just, little requests like that, honestly, it's just so time consuming and it's just counterproductive to the program. So if you have little kids and need a certain size or certain temperament, stuff like that's perfectly fine. But we just ask that you don't use the program just to shop for a new pet. So Basecamp. So if you still are interested in the program after the orientation, you'll just leave the application on the desk and I'll come around and collect them after. We do run background checks. The background checks, I'm not looking at speeding tickets or traffic violations from 5 years ago. It's strictly anything that I would worry about the animals. That would be like animal abuse, recent multiple drug issues, domestic violence, anything that you'd worry about putting an animal in the foster home. So if you guys have any questions or concerns on that, I do have a stack of my business cards back there. You can also just reply to the email that I sent, or feel free to talk to me after class with any questions that you have. And all of that information is 100% confidential. That's just because we do humane investigation cases, and it's a lot of cases that are very private. So we just have to make sure because of that it's very sensitive information. So once those background checks are back and clear, I'll send you an email letting you know that the background checks are back, and then I'll enter your email address into Basecamp. Basecamp then will send you a Basecamp notification. If you want to join Basecamp, then you'll just click on that notification, make an account, and then you'll be able to see our projects. If you're just sticking with Facebook, just ignore that Basecamp notification. And then Basecamp is a site that we do pay for here, so you guys should not have to pay for it at all. If you're making and signing up with an account and it's asking for you to pay anything, then somewhere you're veered off. You should not have to. So if you do make a Basecamp account, you can either click on when it sends you updated emails. It's the very top link in the email. It will bring you to a page like this. If you're a part of different projects in the shelter, there's different projects for each group. If you're only a foster, you'll just see one, so you'll click on this project, and this is if you do the app. If you just go on through the email, you'll be brought actually to this page. So at the very top, you'll see all the latest discussions. You may have to scroll down a bit. You'll want to scroll down till you see these to-do lists. So once you scroll down and see the to-do lists, click on the to-do lists, and you'll see multiple sections. So it'll be like dogs in need of fostered, cats in need of foster, small mammals. If you don't see a certain subgroup, that could mean that we just don't have any animals in that group that need it. For example, small mammals will a lot of times go a month or two without needing them, and then because rabbits breed like rabbits, all of a sudden we'll need 40 fostered. So in those, if you click on them, normally we attach a photo. The only time we don't attach a picture is if it's a current humane investigation case. We're not legally allowed to. But besides that, we'll attach a picture, and we'll give you as much information as we can. So for example, Ginger, the 1.5-year-old pit hound mix, needs fostered for pregnancy. We'll give you an estimated time, 6 to 10 weeks, and then as much information as we had about her, why she was brought in, roughly what she'll need. If you have any further questions, you're also, by all means, ask us. But we try to upfront give you as much information to see if Ginger would be a good fit for your household. In there, we also try to put if Ginger would be a great first-time foster, or if this litter of kittens probably needs someone more experienced. So we'll try to help you pick a good foster for your household. We want to set you up to succeed and really enjoy the experience. So picking up your fosters. So once you comment on there, hey, I can take Ginger, what time can I pick her up? Then wait for a response. We'll respond to you. Great, can you pick them up at 1 o'clock today? And then wait for a response from you. So just wait for that confirmation. Just because we use multiple types of media, so don't just assume because you commented on this one that someone, didn't send us an email or something else, or maybe something's going on. So just wait for that confirmation. Another thing, so that's how you do Facebook too. You just write a comment when you're interested in fostering them. For base camp specifically, do not click, check off the to-dos. There'll be a little box. The only thing I don't like about base camp is there's no admin really on there. So you guys have just as much power as I do on there. So if you complete the to-do, that deletes it for everyone, including me. So just make sure you never click these little to-dos. If you're interested, just comment. So picking up your fosters. So once we talk about all of that, set up a time, then you'll come into intake and pick them up. We'll always provide, if it's puppies, kittens, a cat, rabbit, we'll always provide a carrier. If it's a dog, we'll ask if you want a dog crate for your car. If you have a way to secure the dog, that's perfectly fine too. We just ask that animals are never loose in your car. It's a safety hazard. Heaven forbid if the dog's just loose in the front seat and someone were to rear end you and the airbags go off. Or if it gets scared and runs under your pedals, we just don't want anything to happen. So it's for safety reasons. That, animals do, especially if they're not used to car rides, can get car sick. So we also don't want them having an accident in your car. Step 2, so you'll go to the intake lobby, which is down the hill, and then you'll go up this ramp. It's not quite so shady looking in real life, I promise. A lot of times you will see the blinds down, especially if it's in the morning. Intake doesn't open till 11. I normally get here at 8. So when we're closed, these blinds will be down a lot of times, but people still might be in there. This door is always locked. That's for safety reasons. We might have either had just like an animal with parvo walk through the lobby and still need to disinfect it. We could have an aggressive dog in the lobby. So this is always locked. So if you don't see anyone coming and opening the door, just ring the buzzer right here. Step 3, either you can ask for me, you can ask for my assistant Ashley, you can ask for foster care. My desk is immediately to the left, or you could just look left and go to my desk. Either way, if you ask for foster, they're going to point you to the right direction. And step 4, take your foster animal home. I'll give you all the supplies that you need, the basics. If there's anything extra that your household could use, just let me know. If you let me know ahead of time, I'll try to have it ready. That way you're not waiting on me. So after you have the animal home, if you're able to work on just basic household either tricks or house training, that makes them so much more adoptable. Especially cats and kittens, it's really important. So dogs and puppies, take them out frequently and on a schedule. If you're not able to take them out, make sure they're either like in a crate. Crate training is really a good way to go. Then when you're crate training, you have them in a crate. Dogs naturally don't like to go to the bathroom in their crate. They like to stay clean. So while you're at work or while it's an inappropriate time, keep them in there. And then as soon as you get home from work, first thing you do, take them out of the crate, take them outside. They're going to have to go to the bathroom, so naturally they're going to go to the bathroom outside. As soon as they're going to the bathroom outside, praise them, give them a high-value treat, make it the most exciting thing ever. They're going to then associate going to the bathroom outside with the treat and with praise, and that's the easiest way to train them. So just make sure if you don't want to use a crate, then you can use a tiled room, a spare bedroom. We just want to make sure that if the foster has an accident on your brand new carpet, that's not going to be a thing. So somewhere that if the animal has an accident, it's not a huge deal. For puppies, provide like a pee pad, newspaper, something that it's an okay spot to go to the bathroom on when you're not there. Puppies can only hold their bladder roughly 1 hour per month old they are. So an 8-week-old puppy can only hold its bladder about 2 hours. That being said, people at work, 8 hours a day, that's perfectly fine. They're going to be adopted into a home that they probably work similar schedules. Just give them that pee pad that while you're at work, they can go to the bathroom on it, and they know they're not going to get in trouble. Cats and kittens, most take to it naturally. Make sure you provide an easily accessible litter box. If it's a larger room with little tiny kittens, give them maybe 2 or 3. We use cardboard ones here. That way, when they get dirty, you can just throw them away. It's a lot more sanitary and it's a lot easier. So by all means, if you have a bigger room, set up multiple for a kitten. Because if you think about a tiny little 1.5-pound kitten, 10 feet can be 300-400 feet to them. And you think about a toddler trying to hold it for that amount of time, they're gonna, you're setting them up to fail, so we don't want to do that. If they do go to the bathroom outside of it, pick up any poop with a paper towel, put it in the box so they know that's an appropriate place. If they pee, a lot of times I'll sap it up with a paper towel, put it a little bit underneath the litter, that way they know that's an appropriate place. If you see they keep using one corner in particular, put a litter box in that corner, wait till they start using the litter box, and then slowly you can move the litter box out to an appropriate spot. That being said, we have foster care coaches that are fantastic if you're having issues with any of these. So I'll get over to that in a little bit. But they're great for basic questions or if you're having a hard time with anything. So feeding. Always free feed dry food for kittens and underweight cats. Kittens, I'm never worried about getting fat, so they can eat as much as they want. Cats, on average, get half a cup a day, or is directed by us. So on average, if it's an adult, normally I'll do like a quarter cup in the morning, quarter cup at night. A lot of people are so used to just free feeding cats. And technically, cats only need a quarter cup a day, technically, so even half a cup. It doesn't seem like much, but that's all they need. They can have wet food if they're having normal bowel movements. Wet food, if they have too much, because it's so rich, can cause diarrhea. So if the kitten or cat starts having soft or liquid bowel movements, make sure to cut the wet food out immediately and just do dry food. If you're noticing liquid diarrhea, especially in kittens, make sure to contact us right away. Dogs, their feed dry dog food is directed by weight and caloric needs. So if you're not sure, ask us and we'll tell you how much you should be feeding that dog roughly. Most of the time we send out dogs with a label on the food. Puppies, I'm never worried about puppies getting fat either. So normally I'll put maybe like if I have a litter of 2 puppies, I'll put 3 or 4 cups in a bowl out of their reach, and then just every time I go by their playpen, I'll just grab a handful and sprinkle it around. That way, they're not eating so fast that they throw up. That's the only thing is they eat too fast sometimes. But I'll do that, and if they eat that up right away, I'll wait another 10-15 seconds and then throw another handful, and I'll keep doing that. I'm never worried about overfeeding puppies, so I'll keep doing that until they stop eating. If they won't eat the dry food, you can offer another type of dry food. Let us know, we can provide it. As long as, once again, if the animal's on a prescription diet, we can't mess with the prescription diet. You're more than welcome to tempt them with chicken or lunch meat, but if you're having to feed them that for longer than a day and a half, let us know. So sometimes, especially if it's a really scared dog, the first day may not want to eat. You may want to use some chicken to coax them, but it should not be only eating, 6 slices of ham for 3 days. So let us know if it's becoming a problem. So shelter illnesses. I know this is a lot of information at once, especially a lot of people just had a really long day, so I don't expect you to memorize all of this. I am attempting to upload this so that if you want to go back to watch this orientation again, you're more than welcome. Or as these things come up, ask any questions that you have. You're more than welcome to. So basic are kennel cough and URI. That's basically common cold for cats and dogs. They start showing flu-like symptoms with those, the runny nose, lethargic, coughing, sneezing. So personal pets, protect with vaccines and just keep them separate. For cats, that's the FVRCP vaccine. That's just the normal yearly vaccine. For dogs, that's the Bordetella vaccine. That's the one that if you ever board or kennel your dog, that they require that you have. Those vaccines, they help them, but it's just kind of like having the flu shot during flu season. You still have a chance of getting it, but normally you get a less strain. Like you only have it for a couple days and then you're good. Same with personal pets. They still have a chance at getting it, but especially because they're not stressed out, they're in a good environment, and they're vaccinated, they may sneeze for 2 days and then they're good. Lice, that's something that you say and immediately you start itching. Lice in cats is way less scary than it sounds. People cannot catch lice from cats. Lice is species specific. So if you take home a foster animal with lice, you can't catch it, your dog can't catch it. Lice don't jump, so it's very hard to catch lice. That, and if a louse were to crawl on your personal cat at home, any cat that's healthy and grooming themselves eats the louse when they're grooming and they never get an infection. Uh, so it's normally either cats that are so overweight that they can't groom themselves, or kittens that are too young to groom themselves yet, or too sick to, are normally the ones that contract lice. So just if your animals are kept separate, unless you're directly rubbing the bedding from the foster animal on your personal cat, the chances of them getting it are almost none. If you're still concerned, revolution kills lice. So if your animals are on that, they're good. You rarely see lice in dogs, so it's mostly cats. Giardia and coccidia, it can cause bloody diarrhea, so when people see it, it sounds and looks really scary. It's really not. Technically, people can get Giardia and coccidia. You have to eat the poop to get it, so don't eat the poop and you're good. Just make sure, especially little kids, just wash your hands and keep your personal pets away from the foster animals' feces, and they're good. Heartworm, mostly dogs get it. The risk is very minimum of spreading. Heartworm is transferred through mosquitoes, so first, hopefully all of your pets are on heartworm preventative. If not, 10-second spiel, please put your animals on heartworm preventative. It is very high in this area. The heartworm preventative normally is $12 to $15 a month. Treatment is very hard on your dog and costs at least $1,000 most times, so it's definitely worth it. That being said, for your own animal, they have to not be on heartworm preventative. A mosquito would have to bite the foster dog with heartworm, draw up larvae, and then go over, bite your dog, and then release the larva. So chances are very slim. FIV, on intake, we test for FIV, FELV. The only times we can't is the moms just gave birth and the babies are under 3 or 4 weeks old. They're too little to still draw blood on. FELV is feline leukemia. Unfortunately, we normally have to euthanize for that. Feline leukemia is extremely contagious, and most of the time they do pass away from it in a very short period of time. Most kittens that, if they have FELV, won't make it to their first birthday. So that's something that most of the time we do have to euthanize for. FIV is feline AIDS. That's transferred through blood, and we don't euthanize for that. Cats with FIV can still live a full, healthy life. It just weakens their immune system. So if they have URI, they may have a hard time getting over it. Or if you have a cat with FIV, they're a lot more likely to contract things like FIV or URIs from foster animals. So with that, just keep them in a separate room. They would have to get in a full blood bath and share blood to contract FIV. So chances are very slim. That's why you see a lot of tomcats have it, because they're used to fighting outside. Parvo and Panlu is very scary if your animals are not vaccinated. Those, especially if you don't catch it in time, is very deadly. So it's something, make sure your animals, dogs, get the DHPP vaccine, DH2PP, DA2PP, any of that basic vaccine that's just a part of those yearly vaccines will protect them from that. If your dog has that yearly vaccine, we don't worry about it. It's just mostly puppies and unvaccinated animals that we worry with that. Cats, it's very similar. Both are types of parvovirus. It's a part of that yearly FERCP vaccine. So as long as your cat's vaccinated, then it's perfectly fine. But with that, they just fade really fast. So symptoms of that would be like liquid diarrhea, vomiting. Normally there's blood in the diarrhea. They stop eating. So if a kitten or dog isn't eating for more than 24 hours, let us know. Ringworm is something that's also very scary to a lot of people. It's a pain in the butt if animals get it. If people get it, it's just annoying, but it's really not a big deal for the most part. Cats and dogs, they need baths and intrafungal medication. For people, it almost looks like if you were to take a wedding ring, heat it up, and press it on your skin. There's a very clear circle that forms, and then sometimes you'll have the scaliness in the middle. But people, if you contract ringworm, you just get over-the-counter antifungal cream, jock itch cream, put it on, put a bandage on, and you're good. The exception being some people with compromised immune systems sometimes have a harder time getting rid of it. But once again, ringworm seems really scary, but it's honestly everywhere. Kids get it at daycare all the time. You see it, and you always hear about it in wrestling teams. So it's just something that we see on animals, just like we see it in people. And it is possible to catch ringworm from animals, and then animals can catch ringworm from us. So with that, cats normally it's the scaliness, or normally you'll see. Normally they start off little, so it almost looks like someone took a cigarette and little cigarette burn on there, and then it'll start to get bigger. So if you notice any splashes like that in your foster animal, take a picture of it and send us in an email. But like I said, everyone always worries about it. And inside of a shelter, it can be very scary because we have so many animals in such close quarters. But grand scheme of things, it's really not that big of a deal. You're not going to die from ringworm. It's just going to be very annoying for a bit. Oh, with that. So with ringworm, going back, it spreads through spores. It's not actually a parasite. It's not actually a worm. It's a fungus. So just make sure you vacuum regularly. Bleach kills it. Rescue kills it. Rescue's a cleaner that we use at the shelter. That's one thing that's, if you can make a foster room for your animals, and then, if possible, an ideal would be concrete or wood floors. That way you're not cleaning stuff out of carpets. Carpets are a whole lot harder to clean and disinfect than hardwood floors are. So, foster coaches. We currently have 10 awesome foster coaches that you can choose from. When you take your first foster home, we'll give you that list. We'll normally highlight one of them that would be a great foster coach for your situation, but by all means, you're more than welcome to pick from any of them on that list. Each with over 700 hours of foster experience. Most of them, by now, are in 4,000 hours of foster experience. So if you're struggling with something, odds are they've dealt with it 100 times by now. And they're also really good to know, too, is it something that you need to contact us about, or is it something that just is a quick fix? So they're fantastic for just basic questions, or just see maybe how they're doing something. It's just nice to have that person to go off of. So on there, it'll say if they like email, if they like texting, and you can also use that as how to contact them too, which ones you pick. So advertising. So people all the time ask if they're allowed to post pictures of their animals on Facebook or on Twitter. As long as they're not part of an active humane investigation case, which will be very blunt. If they are, you'll have to sign an additional contract if they are, so you will know if they're a part of an active case. So if they aren't, by all means, post on your personal Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, animals that you are currently fostering. If people are interested in adopting that animal, if you know them really well, they're your best friend, your mom, your next door neighbor, they can come over your house and meet the animal, and we could... Wait, let's see if they're... Let's not play on that. So if they're like your next door neighbor, someone really close to you, then you can put a hold on for them. That's fine. If you don't know them that well, there's someone that you went to a college class with 6 years ago, someone that you wouldn't be comfortable with coming to your house to meet them, just tell them, they'll be available. You can be as broad or specific as you want. You can say what day you're bringing them back, and they should be ready shortly after that, or just say, they'll be ready in around 2 weeks. Keep an eye on the website. The website all the available animals will be posted on the website. So, just let potential adopters know that if we put a hold on them, they still have to go through the adoption process. Let's see, I'll go over holds right now. So, holds. So if you do have someone that meets the animal, wants to adopt them, it's a good fit, you're more than welcome to put a hold on for the foster animal. Just basic rules of holds. You specifically have to contact me to put the hold on. Your friend cannot contact me to put the hold on. Please don't have your friend contact me. Especially during summer, we'll have, just between myself and my assistant who's part-time, over 300 animals in foster care. So it's just a lot that we're trying to go through. Either if your friend's asking more questions or asking to put holds on, or a lot of times then we'll have to do he said, she said with multiple friends at once contacting us about the same animal. So, just to make it easier, if that person has already met the animal, you are allowed to put a hold on. You just have to put the hold on 24 hours before the animal gets returned to us. That hold makes it so no one else is able to adopt that animal. If you're bringing back a litter of kittens that are getting fixed the next day, that hold starts that night, so your friend then can come the evening after they are fixed or available and the full following next day. So it roughly gives them a day and a half to come to the shelter and do the adoption. They do have to physically come to the shelter and pick up the animal and do the adoption paperwork. You can't do the adoption for them. I'm going back, so foster or advertising don'ts. So don't advertise on unknown public pages. One that's really popular now is, I think, that Weirdo Dog Lovers of Cleveland page, the Weirdo Cat Lovers. I know there's a lot of people that mean well on those pages, but there's also a lot of bad people watching those pages, and we've had multiple situations from those pages. So please don't advertise your animals on those pages. Don't create ads about your fosters on sales sites. It, once again, attracts the wrong kinds of people. Don't mention you don't want your animal to go back to the shelter. Please adopt it. It just creates a really negative image of us, which we don't want. We want to keep it as positive as possible. Don't feel that you must find an adopter for your animal. We have a fantastic adoption team here. So most puppies are adopted within an hour of being available. Kittens are normally adopted same day. Most of the time, animals that aren't pits are adopted within the same day. Pits sometimes take a little bit longer to adopt because of all the BSL laws, but no animal will get euthanized for time or space that's healthy, happy, friendly here. So don't feel that you need to find someone to adopt each of your fosters. Also, don't post animals that you do not currently have in your household. So if you see an animal posted on the foster page, please don't screenshot and share it. You just never know what's going on with that foster. Maybe that person already put a hold on. Maybe, unfortunately, something bad happened to the animal. Or maybe something ended up coming up with it that it ended up having to go back to court or something like that. We just ask that you don't share information about animals that you're not fostering. And you can only put holds on animals that are currently in your care and foster. Holds. So, other important rules. You cannot foster for more than one shelter at a time. That's strictly for sanitary purposes. We love other shelters. If you want to dog walk for them, foster for us. Dog walk for us, foster for them. That's perfectly fine. In a case where one of the shelters breaks out with something, we just don't want to spread it to the other shelter through the fosters, and then now our shelter is infected with it and their shelter is infected with it. So that's the reason for that. Animals must stay in your care at the property on the application unless otherwise approved by foster department. So that's once again for safety and sanitary purposes. No dog parks, groomers, stores, friend's house. So dog parks and stores specifically are teeming with viruses, bacteria, illnesses, and especially puppies. The dogs that come in, a lot of times we were the ones that gave them the very first vaccine. So we don't want to, while they have a compromised immune system, put them into that bacteria, virus-ridden area. Parvovirus, for example, most of the time won't die. Bare minimum 7 years. If an infected puppy were to go to the bathroom in a dog park, the virus would stay in the dirt at least 7 years. So the chances of then you taking an under-vaccinated dog walking through that area they can contract it that way. So we just don't want to risk that. Groomers, we have a lot of fosters that meanwhile want to get the animal groomed. Unfortunately, grooming is a really scary situation, especially a lot of those animals. They might have never been to a groomer in their entire life. So they may have come from a hoarding case, they may have come from abuse case, to a scary shelter, to a brand new foster home, and then to a scary groomer place where they have this loud razor coming at their face. They may bite, and we just don't want to put our animals in that situation. Make sure the foster animals are to stay separate from current resident animals. Once again, that's just in case they're not showing any symptoms of anything here, but then start showing symptoms in your household. We don't want to risk your personal animals to any illnesses. We've also had many animals that they may seem perfectly fine in front of you, cuddling, playing, but then something little sets them off. It could be a meter reader walking past. It could be a stray cat that just walks past the door. It could be something so dumb, but that makes them get into a fight. So we just don't want to put anyone at risk of that while in foster. Going back to animals staying in care of your property, because of parvo being so scary and staying so active for so long, puppies under 4 months old have to stay on your property and cannot go for walks. So if you live in an apartment complex, see if you can carry them outside and put them to the back, put them on the ground in an area where other dogs don't normally go. Or if you live in a house, just keep them in your backyard. We just don't want them on the sidewalk where 1,000 other dogs have walked down, just because their immune systems are still developing. Emergency phone is for emergencies only. If in question, please call it. But don't call the emergency phone for adoption questions, scheduling questions, non-life-threatening illnesses, or for non-APL animals. We cannot do anything with non-APL animals legally. So even if we know the answer, unfortunately for legal purposes, we are not allowed to answer. For most of the scheduling and adoptions, whoever is answering the emergency phone may not even have access to that information. It's strictly for if the animal is either something really wrong that needs emergency medical attention, the animal breaks a bone, is listless, not eating, vomiting, and diarrhea, something that cannot wait till the morning. If it's something like the animal just seems to have an eye infection, just a little bit of green nasal discharge, send us an email. Emailing is always the best way to get a hold of us. It'll either be myself or my assistant that's doing all the appointments, that's boostering and doing all the medical care for the most part. So most of the time we are not at the phone, so that's why we rarely get a chance to actually answer the phone. Where emailing, we can quickly check in between appointments. Returning your foster. So please make every attempt to keep your foster for the entire foster period. It reduces the stress of changing environments on them. It lets you get to know the foster animal, and it allows us to save that cage for another animal. If you're returning an animal, short all the time, it uses a lot of resources. We're trying, and really stresses them out, so we're trying to avoid that. Returning early is acceptable if you have like a family emergency or an unexpected trip, or the foster is too stressed in the home environment, so if the cat has eaten for 6 days, or just hiding, not doing well after X amount of time. But besides that, if a lot of times they will have accidents in the house, it can be very inconvenient. I can tell you that up front, a lot of these animals are not properly trained. The dogs may be jumpy, mouthy. We'll let you know that ahead of time. But please be as patient as possible. And then sometimes we have the exact opposite, where people are bringing back their animals and starting to tear up. So it can also be really hard, but just remember that we have an extremely high adoption rate, and when you bring them back, you save your home for another foster pair. Just think about how many animals you're able to help, and then know that you gave them the best chance of getting adopted and staying healthy. The more love and work that you put into that animal, the more adoptable they are. So it's really end of day, so important. If it's something that you're having a hard time with, whoever adopts them is probably going to have a hard time too. So if you're able to help them through that, that helps them stay in that forever home and not be returned. So important tips for success: be patient. A lot of times foster animals can be very frustrating, disruptive, and inconvenient. For example, we had, I always tell this story, we had a beagle that was in our care, and eventually he just kind of didn't seem to care about people at all. We just figured he was kind of stubborn, he wouldn't listen to us, wouldn't really do much. Eventually we moved him along for adoption because we just figured he was stubborn, but he just didn't seem to care about any of us, didn't interact with us. So he was on the adoption floor, just laying in his cage, and all of a sudden this couple that was speaking German walked past. And all of a sudden this dog perked up. And then they noticed that they started speaking German to him. All of a sudden he started sitting for them. He laid down. He wasn't being stubborn. He wasn't trying to be bad. He just didn't speak English. He had no idea. So a little bit of creativity goes a long way too. You never know where these animals came from. For example, we got with the hurricanes, we got a large transfer in from Puerto Rico that needed fostered. And a lot of the fosters printed out a list of basic commands for dogs, and were trying their Spanish out, and most of the dogs knew all the basic English commands in Spanish. So once again, they weren't being stubborn, you had to speak to them in Spanish. So you never know, maybe they spoke a different language, maybe they're used to someone that worked third shift, so they're used to being up at night and sleeping during the day and going to the bathroom at night. Maybe it was a cat that was used to a covered litter box, so now you hand them this cardboard one, they have no idea what it is. You never know what their situation or their home life was before then. Maybe it was before okay that they went to the bathroom in the house because that person didn't care and had 30 dogs. You never know, so this is a perfect time to figure out all those little quirks, to be creative with it and see what works. And that's something that's great to contact the foster coaches on too. And with that, just communicate with us as well. If you're struggling with something, instead of getting frustrated, contact a foster coach, because I'm sure one of them has been frustrated by that very same thing before, and see how they got through it. If you have any questions, you're more than welcome to send us an email as well. If there's an emergency, contact the emergency phone after hours. And also remember to not burn out. I want to make sure you guys are enjoying this just as much as the animals are. It's not helping if you guys hate it and aren't having fun. So make sure to, if you want breaks between foster visits and foster animals, that's perfectly fine. We have some people that only do 1 or 2 foster animals a year. That's fine. The only thing, this orientation and training is good for 1 year. So if it's longer than a year in between fosters, then we just ask that you retake orientation. But as long as you foster more recently than once a year, that's fine. Even taking orientation, you have to sit through this, but besides that, it's fine. Allow yourself decompression time. There's always animals that need fostered and need help, but if you take on too much at once, burn out, then never foster again, it's not helping much either. So we'd much rather you enjoy it and take them as you can. And just remember that they're not going to be euthanized for time or space here. So next steps, if you're still interested in the foster program, turn in your foster care application. I'll collect them after. I'll run a background check. It says take 2 to 4 weeks. Right now, because it's not kitten season, I have a little bit more time, so I've been getting them back a whole lot faster than that. Once background checks are back, I'll sign you up for our email blasts and for base camp. Be looking out for base camp notification in your email. Make sure to check your junk just in case it went to junk. Friend request us on Facebook if you are on Facebook. It's the Cleveland APL Foster Crew. I think it's just APL Foster Crew, actually. But only current fosters are able to be on that page. That page is private just for foster care. So I'll accept you as soon as that background check is back. But if your name is something different than the application, if you can write it on the application if you're going to be using Facebook, otherwise I won't know to accept your friend request. Or if you have someone in your household, any adults that are in your household helping you, please write their names on the application. I will have to do background checks on everyone that's an adult in your household, but if you want one of them on Facebook as well, make sure they're on the application. If you have, that's one thing, if your best friend requests us, we're not able to until they do this orientation. And once again, that's just because the background checks are back, and we do humane investigation posts on there, so that is why it's a private page. Besides that, watch for those pages, and then once you see an animal you're interested in fostering, comment on the post and let us know, and then wait for us to comment back. As soon as an animal finds a foster on the post, you can either see that we already set up someone else to take it, or we'll put foster found. So besides that, foster care hours. These are actually a little bit different now because I have a new foster assistant. So now we're Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. Saturdays, we are 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. Just make sure you make appointments for all services, just in case we're in a meeting during that time. We'd hate for you to have to wait, or if one of us calls in sick or something, so we just want to make sure that you're not coming and then not able to be helped. So we have our phone number on everything, but honestly, if you can email us, that's always the easiest, best way, is to email us at thisfoster@clevelandapl.org. Don't Facebook message. Like I said, the phone, normally we don't get to until the end of the day. So you'll be answered a lot faster in email. And join us on the Facebook page. Besides that, thank you guys so much for coming after work and after a long day. Appreciate it. Any questions? Okay, I know that was a lot of information, so if you guys think of questions later, by all means, please feel free to send an email, or you can leave a message, but emailing is always the best if you can. Thank you guys so much. If someone could grab Mango wherever